Hi everyone, and welcome to today's video where we're going to be doing a guide for Bohemia for EU4 1.35 Domination. So Bohemia is a nation that starts off in Central Europe. We do start off as a part of the HRE, and we are an elector, and we also start off with two subjects, Glogau and Opole right here, a gold mine, pretty good starting dev, and this central position in Europe enables us to follow along with our mission tree, vassalize various electors like Brandenburg and Saxony, ally other electors, which will enable all of them to vote for us, easily become the HRE emperor, and also by following along this mission tree, we will be able to obtain PUs on Hungary, Poland, and potentially Lithuania if Poland gets them, and with our super high diplo rep, we might also be able to get the Burgundian succession while we're also the emperor. Expanding as Bohemia might be a little tricky right here because we have Austria and Hungary to our south, Poland to our east, and the HRE to our west, but don't worry about that because we're going to be expanding mainly through vassalization and PUs in the early portion of the game, and after that we will be conquering everything else. Bohemia is a super strong nation, really good national ideas, starting off at minus 10% advisor cost and plus 10% imperial authority growth, which makes it super nice for being emperor. Then we finish off with plus 1 land leader fire, plus 3 tolerance of heretics, plus 1 government thingy, infantry combat ability and shock damage received, national unrest, tech discount, stab discount, and cost of advisors with ruler culture minus 25%. Those awesome missions, this awesome mission tree, and this great position will enable us to dominate the world in no time. So sit back and relax and learn what you need to do as Bohemia. Alright, here we are as Bohemia, and of course we do start off with these two subjects right here like I said, and we do need to annex them, and then we need to conquer Nitra so we can gain a PUCB on Hungary and later Poland, but we will be a little bit faster than our mission tree. So the first thing we want to do is actually nothing because we start off with no ruler, so we do want to wait for a certain event where we do gain a ruler. But in the meantime, we can improve relations with nations, ally them, improve relations with our subjects, and stuff like that. So first you're going to go into our states and summon the Diet. You can pick whichever agenda is best for you. Then we're going to give the clergy religious state and clerical advisory council, along with clerical education and religious diplomats. Then we're going to give the nobles primacy of the nobility, increased levies, and aristocratic councillors, along with strong duchies. And then we're going to give the burghers land of commerce, patronage of the arts, commercial advisory board, and indebted to the burghers. Now, of course, as you know, as Bohemia, we do start off with a couple of Hussite provinces right here, and we will have lots of options to turn Hussite later, which is a pretty fun playthrough, but for this guide, we're going to be staying Catholic because that is sort of the right way to play Bohemia according to its mission tree and according to the fact that we're going to become the emperor. So we're just going to convert these provinces. After our state setup is done, you can go ahead and seize land. Next, we're going to go into our advisors. Get whichever level 1 admin advisor you want. I'm going to get this production efficiency guy. Get a diplo rep or improve relations level 1 dip advisor. I don't have a level 1 of those guys, so I'm just going to get this level 2 diplo rep guy until we get our alliances in order. Then I'm going to swap him with this level 1 guy. You can do the same. And get a morale, discipline, fort defense, or manpower level 1 mill advisor. I do have this morale guy, so I am going to hire him. Next, it's time for relations, and we're immediately going to go ahead and ally Austria, and if you can't, you're going to go ahead and royal marry them. If Austria has rival you, I do recommend restarting, although it doesn't happen too often. After you royal marry Austria, you will have locked in a slot with them, and you can improve relations and then ally them. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to royal marry Austria. Next, with one of these free diplomats, you can go ahead and start improving relations with your own subjects, and with this third diplomat right here, and with this guy that's going to free himself up, you're going to go ahead and ally 3 electors, not Brandenburg or Saxony though. So someone like Köln, Trier, Mainz, or the Palatinate. 3 of those guys. And once we get a ruler, and once we've allied those guys, everyone will be voting for us, at least our allies and ourselves. So what I'm going to do right here is ally the Palatinate, just like that, and then once these diplomats are back, I'm going to ally 2 more out of these 3 guys. After you do that, you can also go ahead and set some rivals. I recommend rivaling Hungary, rivaling Poland, and then whoever else is available, like Denmark. In my case, this does mean that some of these guys may ally each other, but that's not a problem. Next, we can also take both of our armies, put them in Prague, and rearrange them later, and we can go ahead and turn off our forts to save some money. We're also immediately going to activate the Encourage Development State Edict in this state right here, so we can dev our gold mine in Cheb up to 10 production. Soon, we're going to be getting another gold mine as well, so money won't be a problem, even if we might lose money right at the start. And that's our setup done. Now we just need to improve relations with our subjects, get those alliances in order, and wait for the event where we get a ruler. We are going to be going way over relations limit in the early part of the game, so I do recommend immediately focusing on dip, since we're going to open up with diplo ideas as well. When you get this event, the Compacts of Basel, I recommend choosing the second option where we gain missionary strength. You can immediately start converting your provinces. If you have a missionary strength admin advisor as well, you can go ahead and hire him. Now about a month has passed, I have allied 3 electors. In my case it's Köln, Mainz, and the Palatinate. You'll get similar guys, and I can also ally Austria right now. As you can see, we're already at relations limit, but we're also gonna be trying to ally the Pope and ally and Royal Marry Burgundy. And in fact, in my case, I can already Royal Marry Burgundy, but as we can see, they're rival to Austria. So no alliance just yet, I'm just gonna Royal Marry them. And these are the relations you should have. An alliance with Austria and 3 electors with the Pope, although this is just a bonus, it's not necessary, and a royal marriage or maybe even an alliance with Burgundy. Once again, this is just a bonus, it's not necessary. These are the main nations you want to focus on. Now with these diplomats right here, we're going to go ahead and spy on Hungary, and with this other one, you can go ahead and improve relations with your allies. It doesn't matter which one. Additionally, once your army is in Prague, you can go ahead and hire 3 more infantry regiments. And at that point, you can also lower army maintenance to make some money. And here is the most powerful thing about Bohemia in this latest update. A couple of months after the game starts, you will gain this event, Election of a New Ruler. And here's what this means. Of course, as Bohemia now, we start off with a unique tier 1 government reform, the Bohemian Elective Monarchy, which gives us +1 diplo rep and some noble stuff, which isn't that important. But here's the most important thing. When you get this event, you can choose to elect this guy right here, the first guy, which you already get. In my case, it's Jan Yuri I von Habsburg right here. And as Bohemia, this second option right here, which right now says choose one from the House of von Habsburg, will always give us a ruler of a nation that we're royal married with. So for example, here is von Habsburg, and it's not very relevant because I got a von Habsburg anyway, but let's say when this guy right here dies and I'm royal married to Castile, I could have the option right here to get a Trastamara on my throne. So what does this mean? This means that every time your ruler dies, you can get a ruler of a different dynasty and simply claim the throne of a certain nation that you're royal married with, and you have the same dynasty as them, and then you could possibly PU them. And of course, the third option right here is we choose someone from our nobility. Now, you do get to see the first guy that you get, which is basically this guy right here, and you just gain legitimacy. If you choose the third guy, you do see his stats, but if you choose the second guy right here, you don't see his stats, but at least you know from which dynasty he is and which nation you could potentially PU. Now, in my case right here, this doesn't matter too much since I already got a von Habsburg, but either way, if I didn't get a von Habsburg, in this option right here, I would choose the von Habsburg. So there we go. Let's just select the other guy. Maybe I'll get lucky, maybe he'll have better stats. And there we go, this next guy is a 410. Unfortunately, he did not have better stats, but I just wanted to show you how that works. Either way, now that we have a ruler, our game can start. And first, we're going to go into the HRE right here, cast our vote, and vote for ourselves. And as we can see, our allies will also vote for each other. Now, after this is done, all we have to wait for is to get a claim on Hungary. After some electors are voting for you, you will be able to take the mission Imperial Ambition, which gives us a diplomat, improved relations, and prestige. You should go ahead and get it immediately. Once your spy network on Hungary is above 20, you can go ahead and start claiming these provinces. Once our starting truce with them is up, that's who our first war will be against. If everything went according to plan, and if you allied Austria right at the start and rivaled Hungary, these two guys shouldn't have allied each other, which is precisely the case in my game. You don't really want to fight Austria here in this first war versus Hungary. While we're waiting for that truce to expire, you can go ahead and dev up the gold mine. And here's another event that we've been waiting, the return of the Hussites, and we have a couple of options here, all of which are very interesting. We can of course choose the first option right here, Jan Hus knew the truth, where our current ruler and heirs that we already have from that previous event will die and he will become the ruler, who's a 543 by the way, pretty strong, but we also become Hussite. Now obviously, for the purposes of this guide, this is not the option you want to go with, but if you do want to go Hussite, this is the option you should choose. Then we have the second option right here, where we lose 100 papal influence, the current ruler and heir will be removed, and Yuri still comes into power, but we remain Catholic. Now of course, we do gain some negative modifiers right here because our ruler technically won't be Catholic, but still this is a pretty good option. And then we have the third option right here, where pretenders rise up and the Pope likes us. And here's what you should choose. If you're going Hussite, of course choose this first option. If your current ruler is better than he is at 543, then keep the current ruler and just go with the third option. However, if your original guy that you got sucks, just like me right here, you can go ahead and select the second option, where you get Yuri with a 543, which is precisely what I'm going to do. So this option for Hussite, this option if your current guy is good, and this option if your current guy sucks. Of course, like this, we won't have a von Habsburg, and you might think to yourself, well, we can't PU Austria, but don't worry, we'll be PUing Austria later. So really, in the early game, while we're not that strong, and while we still haven't PU'd Hungary and Poland, it really doesn't matter what dynasty or rulers are. So you're most likely going to choose the second option right here, just like I'm gonna do. And there we go. Of course, once again, you'll get this event that we got earlier. You are probably gonna want to stay with Yuri, just like this. There we go. After you get that event, you will be able to take the mission Hussite Regency, where Catholicism loses reform desire and you gain papal influence. Right now I've devved a gold mine up to 10. Your truce with Hungary expires in December 1449, so about a year before that, you're going to want to raise army maintenance, activate your force, and activate the defensive edict over in the state of Moravia. You can also go ahead and hire a general or put your ruler in charge of the army. And we're also going to be recruiting the Free Company. This will take us over force limit, but it will help us wrap up the war versus Hungary quicker. And once your truce with Hungary expires, you're good to go ahead and declare war on them for the conquest of this province right here. And you may be asking yourself, listen, if we PU them later on, why are we conquering them right now? Well, that's because first we need to own the state of Slovakia right here to gain that restoration of Union CB. And we only unlock this mission after we integrate our subjects, so we don't want to wait around to annex these guys and then fight Hungary. We don't know what's going to happen in the meantime. So simply go ahead and declare it. You should be able to call in some allies by this point to help you out, and you're definitely going to want to call them in if Austria is in this war. However, since Austria is not in this war, I'm only going to call in the electors right here to help out a little bit. And there we go. That's our first war started. We're going to take the entire state of Slovakia. After you get about 40 to 50% war score versus Hungary and you're good to go ahead and take the state of Slovakia, you should go ahead and peace out immediately. We don't want to wait around any longer. We want this truce to be short as possible. No money, no war reps, just Slovakia, and that's your first war done. Now that this initial war is done, you can go ahead and head back home and delete the Free Company, and in the meantime, while we're waiting for a truce with Hungary to expire, we need to improve our nation and work on integrating our subjects, because both of our next missions rely on us integrating our subjects. So after we do this, we'll be able to take this mission, PU Hungary, and we'll also be able to take this mission and PU Poland. Depending on your alliance situation, you can go ahead and go for Poland or Hungary first, depending on what seems easier. But it is a good idea to go Hungary first if you can, since you don't know what's going to happen with them. Someone else might declare on them and shrink them, and you don't want that happening. So we're working on improving our nation, devving the second gold mine up to 10, and integrating our subjects. You should also improve relations with outraged countries. To speed up the conversion of the Hussite provinces, you can also give out enforced unity of faith right here. You can also tell your subjects to siege and divert trade. And there we go, just about 10 years into the game, the Austrian ruler has died, and I have been elected HRE Emperor. Of course, this will happen in your game as well. You will get everyone voting for you by actually allying the electors and voting for yourself, and this is precisely what we wanted to happen. Now with the HRE Emperor, of course, when you do become the HRE Emperor, you can work on completing some of this. You can strictly focus on the HRE gameplay, wiping out the centers of reformation later, reigning in Italy so the Italians don't leave, but you can also just simply do nothing and take advantage of the benefits of being Emperor, such as the massive manpower, income, and force limit. It's totally up to you whether you focus on the HRE or just take advantage of the benefits. In my game, I'm not going to focus on the HRE too much. Of course, after you become Emperor, you'll be able to take the mission Charlemagne's Legacy, which gives us +3 Diplo rep, and that should come in handy when integrating your subjects. Speaking of integrating your subjects, once 10 years have passed, you can go ahead and give the nobility integration policy, so you don't lose Diplo rep when you annex your subjects. Just be careful of their influence though. They should be pretty influential right at the start due to our starting government reform. But there we go. There's the nobility integration policy, and annex whichever one you want first, or you can even do both of them at the same time. It's totally up to you. Of course, once you do become the HRE Emperor, your chances of getting Burgundy will be even higher. For your Tier 2 government reform, you do have a semi-unique option right here, this one for advisor discounts, but since our nobility is so influential as Bohemia, I do recommend going for compromise with the nobility. We don't need strength and noble privileges, we don't want more noble as influence. Sure, the manpower would come in nice, but it's not that powerful, and these other ones aren't worth it. So compromise with the nobility, so increased levies no longer increases influence, and we don't need the manpower anyway, we're Emperor. Of course, once you get the Tech 4 in every category, you should go ahead and activate the Encourage Development State Edict in your capital state of Bohemia right here, and develop Prague up to 30 to help speed up the spawning of the Renaissance, and to take off the age objective for a high development province. In my case, it's 1455, and the Renaissance still hasn't spawned for some reason, so that's why I'm waiting a little bit. And the Renaissance actually just spawned, so what I said previously, I'm gonna do now. Of course, it might also be a good idea to convert Prague over to Catholic before you develop the province, since it'll be less expensive and stuff like that, but since it's already pretty hard to convert it, you don't really have to wait. It's totally up to you. I recommend devving it. There we go, one subject has been annexed, now I'm waiting for the other one, and after that, I'll be able to take the mission. You should be doing the same right now, of course. After you develop the Renaissance over here, you can go ahead and full state Slovakia and activate the Encourage Development State Edict right there as well, and develop this province, that's another gold mine, up to 10 production as well. Now, while you're waiting for your truce with Hungary to expire so you can PU them, something like this may happen. As we can see in my game, Poland has declared on Hungary with the restoration of UNCB, which means Poland is gonna PU Hungary. Now, if this exact thing happens, it's actually not a bad thing at all. Later, when we PU Poland, along with getting them and Lithuania, will also get Hungary at no additional aggressive expansion. So it's really not a big deal if Poland PUs Hungary. Something else that's not a big deal is the Ottomans fighting Hungary. Even if they take some provinces from Hungary, we'll just reconquer them later on because we will be super powerful and we will end up fighting the Ottomans. The most annoying thing that could happen to Hungary is Austria PUing them, because if Austria PUs Hungary, we'll have to make Austria end their PU over Hungary, make these guys an independent nation again, and then wait God knows how long for the truce to expire so we can PU them again, and in the meantime they may get PU'd by Poland or beaten up by the Ottomans. So if Poland declares on Hungary, don't worry about it, let them PU them. Same thing with the Ottomans. If they declare, you don't care. The only annoying thing is Austria declaring on Hungary. And once you've annexed both subjects, you can go ahead and full state Silesia over here, and you can go ahead and take the mission Integrate Silesia, which gives you a permaclaim on Slovakia. Now you may notice that you can take 2 missions after this. This mission right here, which gives us a restoration of UNCB on Hungary if they're independent, if not we just get claims, and this mission right here, which gives us a restoration of UNCB on Poland. Don't take either of them until you're ready to declare. And like I said earlier, it's best to declare on Hungary first so we can get them before anyone else does anything to them. However, in my case, since they're probably about to be PU'd by Poland, I'm not going to be taking this mission since I'll just get claims anyway, and instead I'll have to PU Poland first. So if you can PU Hungary first, do it. If not, you're just going to go for Poland. And don't worry about how strong they are. You and Austria and all your allies can definitely beat Poland. After all, their capital is either right here or right here, so it'll be super easy to get. And with the fact that you're emperor, you can gain a massive force limit, build a massive army, and you'll still be able to beat them. If you're still not feeling that confident, you can try allying Muscovy or something like that, so you can hopefully have them help with Poland, which is precisely what I'm gonna try and do. So remember, don't take any of these missions until you're ready to declare. While you're waiting for truces to expire, improve your nation. The war has now ended, and as we can see, Poland has PU'd Hungary. But once again, let me remind you that this is not a bad thing. Now you may notice that now if you want to take this mission, instead, we gain a permaclaim on Transdanubia and Alfold, which are these 2 areas right here. The same thing would happen if Austria PUs them. So really no need to take this mission until we get Hungary ourselves later on. What are we gonna do with the claims anyway? So now, because I can't PU Hungary, I'm gonna simply try and PU Poland along with Lithuania and Hungary later on. However, in your case, if Hungary is still independent and your truce with them expires, go ahead and PU Hungary first. When the Shadow Kingdom Imperial Incident fires, if you're emperor at that point, you can do whatever you want here. Of course, if you're focusing on the HRE, rein in the Italians, you're gonna do that by allying all of these guys and then taking the decision. If not, you can just abandon Italy. It's totally up to you. Like I said, I'm not too concerned with the HRE, so I'm just gonna abandon it. Right now, I've also devved the other gold mine up to 10. Once you do that, you can go ahead and lower autonomy everywhere since it has been increasing by now because we don't have it that high of a crown land percentage. My original truce with Hungary just expired, so right now, if they were independent, right now I'd take this mission to gain a PUCB on them, and right now I'd declare. Obviously, like I said, this isn't possible in my game. And this is the amount of money we're making just in 1460. Something else you could do at this point is activate the encouraged development in this state once again and dev this province over here that produces glass up to 20. You're mostly going to want to dev it in production, just like the gold provinces. Right now, I can see that almost all of my allies, except for Austria, would help me fight Poland, and that includes Burgundy, 2 electors. In fact, I've lost my alliance with Mainz earlier on. I'm going to re-ally them right now, but either way, Burgundy, 2 electors, the Pope, and Muscovy. And with Burgundy and their subjects, this is enough, even though Austria wouldn't help me out. So even with them being allied to the Livonian Ruhr and Anhalt and having Moldavia, Hungary, and Lithuania as junior partners, even like this, without Muscovy, as you can see, it's doable. We have more troops, we will be technologically superior, so it won't be difficult at all. Either way, I am going to declare by calling in Muscovy. But of course, we do want to take this mission first, where we gain the restoration of Union CB on Poland. So, if you can't fight Hungary and Poland has gotten hungry, definitely go ahead and declare on Poland to PU them. Additionally, if Austria has PU'd Hungary, like I said, you do want to make them give up Hungary. So once again, if you can't fight Hungary first, you're going to PU Poland. And then with Poland and Lithuania's help, you're going to use them to help you fight Austria and make them let go of Hungary. Either way, there's my restoration of Union over on Poland, Lithuania, and Hungary. Right now, I'm also gonna go ahead and take out new burger loans in order to embrace the Renaissance, because it's finally spread. Once you hit Admin Tech 5, it will be time for your first idea group, and of course, as a nation such as Bohemia, where we're playing as the HRE Emperor, where we're gonna have lots of junior partners, lots of vassals, what better idea group to open up with than diplomatic or influence ideas. Influence is of course more heavily suited towards annexing those subjects quicker and helping you deal with vassals mainly, since a lot of these bonuses go to vassals, but Diplo is also great mainly for the diplomats, the Diplo advisor discount, the Diplo tech cost, the ability to take more provinces, and very importantly, the lowered impact on stability from diplomatic actions, which will enable us to royal marry nations which lack heirs, such as Denmark for example, and then hope we get our dynasty on the throne, or maybe through that event, and then we can PU them. And of course, Diplo is an all-around great opener for a blobbing campaign. So if you're going heavily towards vassals, you can go with influence, otherwise definitely open up with Diplo. Remember, we're still focusing on dip since the start. And while I'm in this war, the Burgundian succession has also happened, and I have gotten Burgundy. Of course, it'll happen to you as well if you're royal married to them. And if you're the emperor, it's literally a no-brainer, no reason not to royal marry or even ally Burgundy right at the start. And there we go, we've gotten Burgundy. Remember though, this is just a bonus. It's not something that's necessary for you to have a great game as Bohemia. But 95% of the time, just like me, you will get it. Maybe a little bit later, usually around the 1480s in my experience. Either way, this doesn't change anything for me at all. Burgundy was already in this war. When you get the Burgundian Inheritance Imperial Incident, make sure to choose keep our union with Burgundy. This will lead to a war with France, but of course it's worth it. By the point you get Burgundy, you will have one junior partner at least, maybe Hungary, or if it's a bit later, you'll also have Poland and Lithuania. It'll be super easy to defeat France. Never make concessions to France, and don't integrate Burgundy into the empire unless you're going for an HRE focused gameplay. And if you're focusing strictly on the HRE, then you can go with this option. And once you've gained around 50 to 60% war score, whether it's versus Poland or versus Hungary, you're good to go ahead and select the union with whoever you're fighting option, take as much money as you can, and peace out. It will be a lot of aggressive expansion when PUing either these guys or these guys, but it doesn't matter. Look at all of the land that we're getting in this one single war. Like I said earlier, maybe it's even better if Poland PUs Hungary, because then it's just one PU war instead of two. And that's your restoration of union war done. In my case, I've gotten 3 junior partners, 4 if you count Burgundy while we're in this war, in just one war, and this is how powerful we are now. After you PU Poland, you will be able to take the mission Shemshelid Heritage, which gives you mill points and some permaclaims up here, and after you PU Hungary, you should also take the mission Conquer Nitra and Hungarian Union. If you PU Poland and Lithuania, only Poland will be angry, so improve with them a little bit, and if you PU Hungary, they may not even be angry at all, even if it's a separate war. After you PU one or all of these guys, you will be able to take the mission Humiliate Austria if you're a great power and Austria is not. And this mission right here gives you a subjugation CB on Brandenburg. But hold your horses, don't take this mission just yet. After PUing these guys, of course our aggressive expansion will be high, and if we do something else, we will gain a coalition. We don't want that, even though we're super powerful and the HRE Emperor. So we're gonna wait a little bit before we take this mission right here. Something we can do in the meantime, however, is make Brandenburg smaller. So while you still haven't taken this mission, you can build up a spy network on Brandenburg, declare a random war on them, call in some of your allies and give some of Brandenburg's land to them, or make Brandenburg release a couple of nations, such as Rupen right here. Maybe you can make them give this back to the Teutons. Whatever you want, you can do just to make Brandenburg a little smaller so we gain less aggressive expansion when we vassalize them later on, because the aggressive expansion will be pretty high. We're going to do the same to Saxony later on if Saxony is big too. So for now, while we're chilling, I'm gonna go ahead and spy on Brandenburg and declare a phony war versus them later on to make them lose a couple of provinces, and then when we vassalize them, they should only have about 4 or 5 provinces, which won't be that much aggressive expansion. So, just like you saved these 2 missions until you were ready to declare on Hungary or Poland, you're also gonna save this mission until you're ready to subjugate Brandenburg. As you can see, the CB only lasts for 10 years, so we want to be careful. In this latest patch, you can also give out strong duchies with junior partners, so make sure to give it out again after you integrate your starting subjects. As we can see, we are over relations limit, even though right now I can get rid of Muscovy. I don't really need them for anything, so I'm just gonna get rid of them. I only got that alliance for them to help out versus Poland and Lithuania. Of course, when you PU these guys, make sure to improve relations with them stat so they have a positive opinion of you. If your ruler dies while they have a negative opinion, they'll break free. Now, because we're waiting for aggressive expansion to die down, just like you are most likely in order to PU someone else or in order to vassalize Brandenburg, you can do what I said earlier about shrinking Brandenburg. That's what I'm gonna do right now, even though they're allied to Denmark. With all of these subjects right here, we're unstoppable. So I'm just gonna declare on Brandenburg now, not to take anything from them or vassalize them, just to shrink them so we gain less aggressive expansion later. And there's my war versus Brandenburg. After you build a workshop here and dev it up to 20, and in fact I've already spawned faceting here, I already have gems, you will be able to take the mission Bohemian Crystal where you gain prestige, and this event happens. Basically, we gain some production, the price of whatever trade good we produce there, originally glass but now crystal, increases and we gain some prestige. For your tier 3 government reform as Bohemia, I recommend taking representatives of the crown. This gives some bonuses to vassals and marches, which we will have later on, even though we don't have them right now, but we also gain some nice modifiers right here such as diplo relations +1, vassal force limit contribution +25%, and stuff like that. So, definitely the best option, representatives of the crown. For your first stage ability, you should of course take Justified Wars. If you get this event while you're the Emperor, basically where the Teutons request to join the HRE, you can choose whichever option you want. You can basically let them join, you can let them join but not allow them to declare any wars, or you can not let them join. The choice is totally up to you. Additionally, if you don't let them join, you should go ahead and conquer them because you do get some claims on them. If not, you can let them join. I'm gonna allow them, but put heavy regulations on them, meaning they won't be able to declare on anyone. And now that my war with Brandenburg is done, you can do something similar like I'm doing right now. I'm gonna make them return Uckermark to Stettin, I'm gonna make them release Rupen, make them end some alliances, weaken them as much as I can, so hopefully someone else declares on them. And there we go. This is how small Brandenburg are now. Hopefully they lose a bit more land by the time we get to vassalize them. After you've PU'd all of these guys and you're waiting for aggressive expansion with the HRE guys to die down so you can go ahead and vassalize Saxony and Brandenburg, you should focus on other areas of expansion. And by other areas of expansion, I mean the Ottomans. That is precisely who we're going to be fighting right now, no matter how strong they are. We've got Hungary, Poland, and Lithuania on our side, all of our allies, and potentially Burgundy as well, so defeating these guys, no matter how strong they are, will be pretty easy. What I'm going to do first in my case right here is actually declare on Serbia right here, so we can vassalize them and reconquer some cores right here that the Ottomans have on them, and then later when we fight the Ottomans, we're going to get their cores back, and we're going to release Bulgaria and Byzantium, so we can reconquer their cores later on too. You should be able to take the Balkans from the Ottomans in about 2 or 3 wars, depending on how much they've expanded. Either way, there's my declaration on Serbia. If you don't feel like fighting the Ottomans yet, you may look to fight some other minor Balkan nations if they still exist in your game. Herzegovina, Bosnia, Serbia, Wallachia, maybe Albania, or even Venice if they still have provinces here. There we go, Serbia has been defeated, and I'll make them my vassal. Before fighting the Ottomans, I'm also going to declare on Bosnia and vassalize them as well. These are the sort of things you might do while you're waiting for aggressive expansion to come down. Now that I've defeated Bosnia, I'll vassalize them too. And because I like nice borders, I'm gonna make my one subject Poland give my other subject Bosnia some of their cores back. Right now I can also pass an imperial reform. That's always a great thing. Do it when you can. And there we go, I'm gonna make Poland give another core back to Bosnia. Once you hit Admin Tech 7, it will be time for your second idea group, and as Bohemia, I feel like you have a couple of options. Because we have so many subjects, and because we're gonna have so many subjects, we don't really need to rely that much on our army and the strength of our army to defeat our enemies. So that's why there's not really a strict need to go with a military idea group, even though we don't really have military idea groups in our national ideas aside from the infantry combat and shock damage received. So that's why if you feel like you can let your subjects do the work, at least in the early game, you could go with a money-making idea group such as Economic. Economic is really good as Bohemia. The tax and production efficiency will help us a lot, plus the yearly inflation reduction helps with the gold. Then we got the gold depletion chance modifier, which is awesome as well for the gold. Then we got some land maintenance, helpful for the army, interest per annum, a merchant, and goods produced, which will help us quite a lot in managing our money-making situation. So that's why I recommend it slightly more. However, once again, because we don't have many mill idea groups in our national ideas, almost none at all, you could go with a mill idea group to buff up your army as well. And if you do go with a mill idea group, what I recommend is offensive ideas. So for your second idea group, if you want to rely on your subjects more, go Economic. If you want to do the heavy lifting yourself, go offensive. I'm gonna go Economic in my game right here. And like I said earlier, while you're waiting for aggressive expansion to die down with the European guys so you can continue the vassalization of the electors, I do recommend hitting the Ottomans. Now, the best time to declare would be while they're fighting someone over here, and of course, as always, when you're close to the Ottomans, they expand. That's why they've pushed it to the Mamluks this far. Otherwise, hopefully in your game, they won't have conquered this, but it is time to declare. You don't have to declare on them right now in like the 1470s or 1480s like me, but you should make sure to have completed one war against them by 1500. In my game, I'm gonna do it right now. You should do it at this point as well, after you PU Poland, Lithuania, and Hungary. And before you subjugate Brandenburg and Saxony. I feel like that's the best time to declare. So what I'm gonna do right now is declare on the Ottomans a simple reconquest for Serbia, score Belgrade, and I'm gonna call in Austria and the Palatinate. And there we go. There's my first war versus the Ottomans started. And there we go. Now my event ruler, Yuri, has died. Unfortunately, I have been re-elected HRE Emperor. Now, when that guy dies, you do have a couple of options right here. Of course, the heir will become the ruler, which was that guy. And as earlier, you can elect the same guy or get someone else. See, this is the guy I have, the 516 guy. Now we can get a von Habsburg, which will of course enable us to possibly PU Austria later on, or someone else, depending on who you're royally married to. You can get a different noble that you know as stats, or you can also even get a general right here who's a 235 in my case. Right now, I'm pretty satisfied with Yuri, even though he's a 516, so I am gonna keep him. Later, we'll be doing stuff like this. You don't really have to focus on getting other dynasties on your throne in the early part, like I said earlier. And then, once the heir gets elected, you will also get this pop-up, the Heretic King, because the heir will also be Hussite. What you need to do right here in this option is bend the knee to Rome and turn your second ruler from Hussite to Catholic. This improves your relations with the Pope, and you'll finally start getting some papal authority, and you can continue on with your Catholic gameplay. And there we go. After only a couple of years, we've almost 100%ed the Ottomans. They're down to 1k troops, 11k manpower, and this wasn't difficult at all, even though some of my subjects have a lesser miltech than the Ottomans. Luckily, me and Burgundy were up to date, even though Austria, Hungary, Poland, and Lithuania weren't. But in your first war with the Ottomans, here's what you should focus on taking. If Hungary has lost any cores, you should focus on giving them back. If you vassalize someone like Wallachia, Serbia, or Bosnia, you should focus on giving their cores back. But if you already have all of Hungary's stuff, and if you already have stuff over here, then you should focus on taking provinces that you're going to release Bulgaria and Byzantium from. So the first thing I'm going to do is give all of Serbia's cores back to them, along with Bosnia right here. Then I'm going to give this to Poland over here because they basically have the entire state of Wallachia too. And what I'm going to do is take a couple of provinces over here, maybe something like this, to release Bulgaria and Byzantium from. Unfortunately, I can't take Constantinople with this other stuff that I'm taking. So a couple of provinces for Bulgaria, a couple of provinces for Byzantium, and then as much as you can up here for your vassals or your junior partners, or maybe something else for yourself. And that's the first war with the Ottomans done. Now Bosnia and Serbia have all of their cores back. I can go ahead and annex them, and I'm also going to go ahead and release Bulgaria. Boom, there we go. They popped out of these three provinces, and I can release Byzantium. Boom, they popped out of these two provinces. These are Bulgaria's cores that we'll reconquer in our second war, and these are Byzantium's cores that we'll also reconquer later on. That's your first war with the Ottomans done. You basically prepped your subjects for reconquest later. By the point you beat up the Ottomans, your truce with Brandenburg should have expired, in which case soon you'll be ready to take this mission and subjugate them. Once aggressive expansion with the HRE guys has calmed down, you are good to go ahead and take this mission. Humiliate Austria, where you gain a subjugation CB on Brandenburg. Like I said earlier, you'll be able to take this mission when you're a great power and Austria isn't a great power, which will be after you PU either Poland or Hungary. You don't need to actually humiliate Austria in a war. And there we go. Now we have the subjugation CB on Brandenburg. Of course, with all of this might behind you, you will be able to subjugate them. No problem. And there we go. Here's the declaration. Actually, we have good relations, so I'm going to send them a scornful insult first. And now I'm going to go ahead and declare. Hopefully, by the time you declare, you've shrunken them down a little bit. In my case, I gave this back to Stettin, released Rupen, and Lubeck has taken this one province right here. For your tier 4 government reform, even if you went Hussite, you should go with Lance for the church. Because we're staying Catholic, we want to have good relations with the Pope, and all of these reform modifiers will help us out quite a lot. And there we go. After a quick and easy war, you can go ahead and vassalize Brandenburg. If you shrunk them, it shouldn't be more than 50 aggressive expansion. Of course, you can take all their money too. And that's your war with Brandenburg done. Now to complete this next mission where this very important event happens, if you popped out Rupen out of Brandenburg, you should go ahead and reconquer this for Brandenburg. And you should also reconquer Uckermark from Stettin because we do need all of these provinces to belong to Brandenburg. Luckily, like this, it's less aggressive expansion than just straight up vassalizing them when they do own these provinces. Right now, I can also pass my second imperial reform. At this point in my game, I have 9 subjects. Right now, you should have 5 or 6 at least. And now I've just gotten the Duchess of Burgundy dies event where we inherit Burgundy. That's a Diplo slot saved because we'll integrate them, but Burgundy is a pretty good subject to keep around, so don't worry if you get Burgundy and don't get this event. But there we go. Burgundy is mine. Of course, if you do inherit Burgundy, make sure to full state all of these provinces right here because they're super rich and we'll be making a lot of money from them. Don't forget to do this. Since you're the emperor, you shouldn't have problems with governing capacity. Of course, make sure to add all of these provinces to the HRE as well. If you do end up inheriting Burgundy, because you will have a good control over the English Channel trade node, you might want to remove the merchant from Vienna and tell him to instead collect in the English Channel. I just took out new burger loans. I'll be using all of these burger loans to build up buildings in the provinces that I got from Burgundy. Additionally, I'll also be declaring on Rupen to get Berlin's provinces back so we can take the mission. Luckily, Stettin is in this war as well, so I can also give them back Uckermark. And now that I've defeated Rupen and Stettin, I'll be giving these two provinces over to Brandenburg. And that's my war with them done. Once you do give those provinces over to Brandenburg, you will be able to take the mission Electorate of Brandenburg, but once again, don't take it just yet. We will eat the penalty a little bit for having subjugated an elector, but we're still not ready to declare on Saxony. First, we're going to check their alliance. I, in fact, just fought them, so I'll have a 5-year truce with them, but who knows what I'll be doing in 5 years. Maybe I'll be involved in a different war and I won't be able to declare on Saxony right away. So, until you're ready to declare, once again, just like with all the other missions that focus on subjugating, don't take this mission just yet. After you subjugate Brandenburg, because you have an elector subject and they'll also vote for you, you can get rid of one elector alliance. So after you subjugate Brandenburg, get rid of one of these three guys. Then after you subjugate Saxony, get rid of another one. In my case, I'm gonna see who I have the worst relations with, and that seems to be Cologne in my case, so I'm gonna get rid of the alliance with Cologne. There we go. This is just to save a Diplo slot since we're way over a relations limit. If you have any of these guys right here, Bosnia, Serbia, Albania, Wallachia as subjects, after you've gotten all of their cores back, you're good to go ahead and annex them. Keep an eye on governing capacity as well though. And of course, we are going to give the nobles the integration policy. In my case, I'm going to annex Bosnia right here. Of course, make sure you're telling your vassals to divert trade. And there we go, I've just annexed Bosnia. Now, I'll also be annexing Serbia as soon as I get my relations up with them. After you start getting Orthodox provinces down here in the Balkans, depending on what your focus is, sure, you could convert them, but there's no real need. You can simply go ahead and give the burghers grant Orthodox autonomy. And those provinces no longer give us religious unity penalties. Like I said, now I'll be annexing Serbia. Right now, I'm sort of ready to declare on Saxony, and when you are, you should check the following things as well. Check the aggressive expansion map mode. Is there a risk of a coalition if you PU them? Check their allies. Are they strong? Is this going to be a difficult war for you? Basically, all the necessities. If you're good to go ahead and declare, then you're going to go ahead and take the mission Electorate of Brandenburg, where this event happens. And basically, you have a couple of options. Right now, Brandenburg is your vassal, and of course, you could select this. The current situation suits us. You just gain prestige, and of course, there won't be any penalties towards the guys voting for you. Then you could also create a personal union and make them your junior partner. This, of course, doesn't give you any money and stuff like that, but at least you don't get this negative modifier right here where you lose imperial authority. But the most interesting thing for this update is I think you should actually restore the March of Brandenburg. Now, because a subject can form Prussia, what you can do right here is basically feed all of these provinces to Brandenburg right here, hope that they flip Protestant later on, and hope that they go ahead and form Prussia, and basically you can have a March Prussia, which would be super strong. Of course, as you know, March subjects gain bonuses to their army and stuff like that, and they'll be super powerful, and if you don't plan on ever owning this yourself, that is a pretty good idea. But honestly, if you're not interested in that, the current situation can suit you, or you can create a personal union. But you know, for the purposes of fun, what I would do is make Brandenburg my March right here, feed all of this to them since our subject needs to own these provinces for a different mission as well, then feed the rest of the Teutonic Order to them and hope that they form Prussia later on, but even if they don't, it's not a big deal. So, for the purposes of having fun, I recommend going with the Restore the March of Brandenburg and making these guys your March. However, if you're not into that, if you don't care about having a Prussia subject, you could either keep them as a vassal or make them a junior partner. If you don't plan on integrating them, then you can definitely create a personal union. And as we can see, making them a March or keeping them as a vassal does give you 0.1 less imperial authority per month. So if you're really focusing on the HRE gameplay and passing reforms, make them a junior partner. Either way, all that explaining aside, after you do that, you'll go ahead and subjugate Saxony. And of course, once you do defeat Saxony, you're gonna go ahead and vassalize them as well. You can take all of their money too. Of course, if they don't have all of the provinces in the Saxon area, just like if Brandenburg didn't have all of the provinces in the Mittelmark area, you're gonna have to do a little conquering. In my case, it's just one province from Thuringia here. So that's exactly what I'm gonna do. I'm immediately gonna declare on Thuringia for the conquest of Wittenberg. And there we go. And there we go, Serbia has also been annexed. And right now I've also wrapped up economic as well. Diplo and economic gives you tax and monthly autonomy change. And since I only want the province of Wittenberg, it's time to peace out. After Saxony has all its cores back, you'll be able to take the same type of mission that you took after you subjugated Brandenburg, of course, except this time we don't gain any more subjugation CBs, and this event happens. Basically, you have two options, which are the old ones that you got as Brandenburg earlier on. You can create a junior partner, or the current situation suits us. Once again, if you plan on annexing them, you can keep them as a vassal, but if not, you should make them a personal union because you will be losing imperial authority if they're your vassals or marches. So even though I made Brandenburg a march specifically for the purpose of making them into Prussia later on, I will be creating a personal union with Saxony. I don't want to lose imperial authority due to that. And after integrating Serbia, I have my third gold mine. You may have gotten this way earlier than me if you fought Serbia after PUing Hungary or something like that. Either way, you're going to want to dev this one up to 10 as well. Just like we broke an alliance with an elector after we subjugated Brandenburg, you should do the same after you subjugate Saxony, because we're an elector basically. We have two guys voting for us, so it's enough for us to only have one elector ally. Let's see, in my case, I'm gonna break it with Mainz right here. The planet is a little stronger, so that's why I'll keep them around. And by the time your original truce with the Ottomans is up, you should have subjugated both Brandenburg and Saxony, in which case it's time to declare on the Ottomans again and retake some of Byzantium and Bulgaria's cores. In my case right here, I'm gonna declare a reconquest for Salonik. Call in Austria, the planet, and the Pope. It's gonna be even easier than last time. When you hit Admin Tech 8, make sure to build as many courthouses as you can. By this point, you will be at the GovCap limit. Right now, I've also devved Kosovo up to 10. I have 3 gold mines at 10 production. And when you do end up defeating the Ottomans in your second war, you should of course focus on giving back Byzantium and Bulgaria's cores to them. In this first war, since I focused on reconquering Byzantium's cores, I'm gonna give them all of their cores back. Additionally, I'm gonna take Constantinople for myself. And that's my second war with the Ottomans done. In my next war, I'll reconquer Bulgaria's cores, take these provinces over here that are left over in the Balkans, and then something else over in Anatolia. For Tier 5 government reform, you should either take organized military staff, military engineering, or defensive stance. I'm gonna go with military engineering. As we can see, I just got a new election. In fact, the House of Howard is the second option right here, which is the English dynasty. And in fact, they don't have an heir right now. So what would be the best for me? Not elect Shemshel right here, the actual heir, but choose one from the House of Howard. And boom, just like that, we can actually claim the English throne if we royal marry them. As we can see, there we go, that's an option. So that's how Bohemia is the ultimate PU master in 1.35. Keep in mind that when you swap the ruler like that, you may not get re-elected because it's technically not the heir. So in my case, I didn't get re-elected right here, but it's literally not a big deal. It was just to point out how you could PU other nations. And there we go. There's the claim throne over on England. We can simply declare on them, PU them, of course, if we had the navy. This is just for demonstrative purposes, of course. And by around the time colonialism spawns, your realm should look a little something like this. Basically, we started off as Bohemia and started off by fighting Hungary, taking the state of Slovakia right here and integrating our subjects, and after that we were able to unlock these two missions right here, which each gave us a restoration of Union CB on Hungary and on Poland. And of course, if Austria PU'd Hungary, you should have fought Austria, made them release Hungary, and then PU'd them yourself. If the Ottomans fought them and took provinces from them, no big deal, you still PU'd them. And if Poland PU'd them, well then you simply PU'd Poland and got Poland, Lithuania, and Hungary all in one peace deal. After taking care of the PUs on these two guys, you should have waited for aggressive expansion to die down with the European Catholic nations, and you should have worked on expanding over here just a little bit, maybe vassalizing some small nations to reconquer their cores, maybe reconquering some Hungarian cores, maybe taking some provinces, but it doesn't matter too much. And after taking whatever you could in the Balkans from small nations, you should have hit the Ottomans once, mainly to take provinces to release Bulgaria and Byzantium from to prepare for your second war. After hitting the Ottomans once, you should have vassalized Brandenburg, and like I said, if you want to go for the fun route, you could have made them a march. If not, you should have made them a junior partner in order to not lose imperial authority. And after getting Brandenburg, reconquering their provinces, remember, you should have made them shrink before the first war so you don't get as much aggressive expansion. After that, you should have vassalized Saxony as well, turned them into a junior partner. And after that, you should have fought the Ottomans in your second war and reconquered Byzantium's or Bulgaria's cores, and maybe something else for yourself if you wanted to. And during all of this time, you may have gotten Burgundy as a junior partner. This is just a bonus, something that's not really necessary for the gameplay, but it is nice to have. And if you're the emperor and if you royal marry them, you will get them 95% of the time. And this is what you should look like by the time colonialism comes around. Of course, during this time, we haven't only been focusing on expanding ourselves through conquest, even though we haven't been really conquering that much. Pretty much the only provinces that I took through conquest in my game are the state of Slovakia right here and the province of Constantinople. Everything else was just reconquest for subjects, vassalizing and PUing. But that's not the only thing you should have been doing so far. Of course, as such a rich nation starting off off with a gold mine, getting one more, and then even one more, you'll be rolling in money. By this point, I'm making 62 ducats a month with forts and armies up. A lot of it is from gold, not a lot from trade because our nation is sort of wonky and split up into 4 different regions, so we can't really optimize trade during this point, but 62 ducats is no joke, and you should be making lots of money as well and using that money to improve your nation. I've upgraded all my centers of trade to level 2. I've built marketplaces in all the center of trade provinces except this one, of course, and I've built workshops in all the high value trade good provinces, lots of churches too, and a couple of courthouses as well, because we do need to deal with the governing capacity. So that's what you should have been focusing on economy wise. Of course, you should have developed this gold mine up to 10, this gold mine up to 10, and this gold mine up to 10, and improve this province up to 20 so you can take that one mission, and improve Prague up to 30 as well to take off the age objective. Speaking of missions, you will continue to follow along with your mission tree. You'll take this mission right here once you convert Prague. This mission right here focuses on you taking control of these provinces, and of course Poland may own this already in your campaign, in which case that's great, but of course you do need to conquer Stolp as well, and I do recommend feeding this sort of region right here to Brandenburg. If Poland doesn't have this, then of course you should definitely go for the March Brandenburg route and feed this to Brandenburg and hope they become Prussia. And of course there are a few missions left down here that focus on wiping out the Ottomans and improving your nation, and down here that focus on the HRE and vassals and PUs a little bit more. Short but sweet mission tree, definitely aim to complete it. Of course, as Bohemia, we start off with the historical city center of Prague, which gives us imperial authority growth, but by integrating our subjects later on, we will be gaining access to a lot more great projects. You will want to upgrade the Biblioteca Corviana from Hungary, you will want to do the Krakow Cloth Hall, you will want to do the Malbork Castle, the Brandenburg Gate, the Parthenon very importantly, and of course the Hagia Sophia too, along with the Truckei Castle, and there are some like these two that you can't take advantage of because you will be Catholic. You should definitely aim to upgrade these great projects once you get them. After this point, you will continue to expand in the same directions we've already been expanding in. You will continue to push into the Ottomans until you take control of the entirety of the Balkans from them. After that, you could go for Anatolia as well, and what you should really focus on are these regions right here in your immediate vicinity. So you start off with this right here in southern Germany, but your main focus should be in Poland, Carpathia, the Balkans, Anatolia, the Pontic Steppe Caucasia, the Baltic, Ruthenia, and Russia. So pretty much this part right here, which is pretty much all of Eastern Europe, and after that everything else depends on you and what your goals are. If you've gotten Burgundy, you can expand into France, force nations to enter the HRE if you're going for the HRE game. Later you can wipe out the centers of reformation as well. It's totally up to you if you focus on the HRE or not, or if you just want to get the bonuses from being the emperor. This is what we took for our first 2 idea groups. We open up with diplomatic and economic. Like I said, you could have gone offensive for your second idea group as well if you wanted to focus on the wars yourself a lot more rather than your subjects, but diplo-economic after that, you could definitely buff up your army because of course at a certain point you will need to do stuff yourself. You will be integrating your subjects, this will be yours, so you won't have a lot of minions doing your bidding for you. However, if you're going for the HRE route and planning on revoking the privilege and having all of these subjects, then influence would be a good third idea group. You'll take advantage of it now while you have these guys, and later when you revoke the privilege. However, if not, you can go with 2 consecutive mill idea groups after you take diplo and economics. So after this, you could go with something like offensive and quality, because you will want to get a navy up as well to help you beat up some of the guys right here if you plan on expanding right there. So diplo, economic, influence, mill idea group if you're planning on going the HRE route. If not, diplo, economic, and then offensive and quality. After that, the rest of it is up to you depending on your expansion goals and opportunities. This is what we took for our first 5 government reforms. For tier 6, you should take royal decree. For tier 7, you should go with meritocratic recruitment. For tier 8, you should empower the burghers or embrace the economic theory. For tier 9, you should go with this one right here, or Leviathan if you're planning on playing heavily with subjects or going the HRE route. And for tier 10 and tier 11, all of them are really good. Take whichever one you want and need at that point in the game. You won't make a mistake with either one of them. And like I said, by the time colonialism comes around, your realm should look a little something like this. Let me know in the comments below what's the next nation that I should do a guide on. If you want to watch me do stuff like this live, you can follow me on twitch.tv/RedHawkLive, and if you want to catch up on stuff from over there, you can subscribe to the second channel, link is in the description. If you enjoyed this video, don't hesitate to leave a like, it really helps out a lot, and if you like the content and want to see more videos like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of them. And you can become a member today and join the Discord, the link is in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time with another EU4 video.